I'm Laurian Smith and I am 42 and a mum of 5 minus 1. One passed away. We have a 10, 9 and 3 and currently 3 weeks old today. In 2014, I was pregnant with my third child and it was all very, very exciting. And we found out we were having a boy and it was really cool. And Christmas Eve, I woke up realizing that I hadn't felt very much movement overnight and called Blacktown Hospital. And they said, come in and we'll check you out. It's probably fine, there's probably nothing wrong. And I went in the morning, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the midwife did a CTG, which is a trace that they do on your belly, which helps to find the fetal movements and things like that. And she couldn't find a heartbeat. And she says in that moment, you know, it's okay, it's sometimes they're hiding and it's a bit hard to find, but I'm gonna get a doctor and they're gonna do an in-room ultrasound. He couldn't find a heartbeat either on the ultrasound. Sent me for a formal ultrasound where they diagnosed that he had actually passed away. That was one of the most surreal moments of my life. It wasn't something that was anticipated because nothing had been discovered. His placenta was working fine as far as they could, the cord was working fine. It had the three parts that it's meant to have, and his heartbeat was all good and all of that sort of thing. So there was nothing to indicate that there was anything wrong or that he would be passing away. When you receive traumatic news, you have a bit of a fight or flight response to it. And I wanted to fight. I was praying the whole time, like, God, you can bring this baby back to life. This baby's not dead. This baby's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And then my mum arrived. I'd called Shannon and I'd called my mum. I think having support was really important. We all prayed before we went into the formal ultrasound. With that moment, I just realised that I had to kind of just be still in it all. It was the only way to cope with it. There was no fleeing from it. You couldn't run away from the fact that you're now carrying a baby that's not alive anymore, and you can't fight anymore. There's nothing medically that they can do. There's nothing you can do to intervene. So it was literally just asking God to show me how to be still in it all. And we made a decision. We would hold off telling anybody on Christmas because we wanted our girls, we had the two girls, older girls at the time, to have a good Christmas and to not sort of ruin their Christmas. That was probably tougher than anything else because you're kind of sitting there knowing what has happened and people are asking you how baby is and that sort of thing because you're with family. And there were many times I had to run to the bathroom and excuse myself to go to the bathroom because it was really difficult to hold it all together. But if you're a person who has a faith and you truly believe and understand who you are in Him, you have a choice to either go with the truth that you know or to go with the emotions that are telling you that that's not true anymore. It is a choice that you literally have to make in those moments. And I think for me, in that it's coming to realize that praise is a choice, worship is a choice, thanksgiving is a choice, even joy to a certain extent is actually a choice because joy comes from the Father's heart. It doesn't come from your experience. And it's the truth of knowing that He offers you joy, He offers you peace, He offers you hope, but do you choose it? Do you actually accept it? And choosing hope, choosing joy, choosing peace doesn't mean that you don't grieve. It just means that you don't grieve with hopelessness. And knowing that God is big enough to accept your anger, that's big too. Understanding that God is my Father and that He has my best interests at heart and He has purpose for me and He has life for me. I was able to be angry with the situation and go, God, I don't understand this and I don't really get why we are going through this and why you are allowing this to happen. And then still to turn and say, but I praise you anyway. You know that poem, Footprint in the Sand, and you look back and there's only one set of footprints, and you can either go, recognize that God is actually carrying you, or you can be angry that you feel like God abandoned you. It's a perspective thing, and that perspective often doesn't come until it's all over. So in the midst of it all, I don't know necessarily that I felt any closer or any further from God. I think I just was trying to get through it in the best way that I knew how, and the only way I knew how was to worship and praise and to draw close to those around me, and to just let grief wash over you when it did hit. Every day I had to choose to actually maintain my faith. And I also want to say I think I was really blessed in that I had very good pastors, very strong family situation in regards to faith, a strong in the faith husband as well, and those things help. A verse in 1 Corinthians which talks about we are meant to suffer together, and when you suffer in isolation, I think that's a lot more when hurt comes. The Safer Baby program that's currently being launched at the moment to educate healthcare providers on factors that can reduce stillbirth, because it's one of the things that the rate hasn't actually changed. So I think this is actually really vital and important, because there are things that people can be doing, like for example, knowing how to monitor your fetal movements. Side sleeping, you may be more comfortable on your back, but to invest in pillows and to prop yourself up on the side so that you stay on your side, to not be smoking. Being informed is a really good thing. Being able to apply the knowledge is even better. I like to speak out about my stories. When I became pregnant with Anaya, the way that I found out I was pregnant with her is I had to have a massive bleed. I had no idea that you can have a big bleed and that can be like the sign that you're pregnant. With her, I had quite a few little bleeds through the pregnancy. It wasn't just the one time, and then she ended up coming at 29 weeks. In that moment, I realized I needed to know more than just medical information. I needed to know people's experiences and how they coped with it and what they went through. If anyone ever wants to know my stories in regards to birthing children, I will be open and honest and hopefully help them cope. I think telling stories is really important.